love, support, grace, social activism, resources, and art. I am the assist. Y'all know who this is.
Yeah, it's your girl Nick Rockhead. What's up? What's up? What's up? Yeah, I'm in the building today.
All day. It's my
What's up?
right hand sister. You
I
know,
love
we
it
gon'
here.
we gonna get right into it because I love when we got a full show. We got my co-host here. We got the folks. We got black people here.
Beautiful
Because I
black
love black
queens.
people. So because we don't introduce anybody, we let nobody can introduce you the way
Like
you
you can.
introduce yourself.
Absolutely.
But before you introduce yourself, can you please tell people what the shirt says?
Oh, Bay, black and educated.
Oh,
Hold
that's
on,
what
let me do
baby.
Okay.
I've been
Okay.
confused all this time.
All this.
I thought baby something different. I've been confused. Thank you for shedding some light on me, sister. You learn something new every day.
All day, and I love it. I love everything that's associated with being black. That's how I looked at the shirt. I seen black on there. I said, "Oh, this gotta be something." Let me see. Oh, show the people, because we love black people on here. So I ain't gonna go on one of my tangents. Please allow people to know who you are.
Wow. Okay.
Speaking to that. Speaking.
Can y'all hear me? Testing,
Yeah.
testing.
We need
All
to
right.
know, who are you?
I'm Dr. Benita Tillman, but you can call me Benita. Currently, I work for DBH IDS, Philadelphia System of Care, which is Department of Behavioral Health, Intellectual Disability, Philadelphia System of Care, DBH IDS, PSOC. No matter what you say, it's a mouthful.
Right.
So,
But you gotta give us more. Like I need to know more. I need to know, where's the brick and mortar? Do you have an office? What's your Instagram? What's your TikTok account? Like, let the people know what's
Listen.
going on. Let
And
them know
who's
who
the
are you?
lady behind the crown?
Yes.
oh, well, I do a lot of community work. The funny thing was when I met you at the event, at the library,
Right.
I didn't realize I met you a couple years before at a cookout in West Philly.
You had to. Where at in West Philly? Where at?
It was a cookout they had in West Philly. What was that? I can't think. But it was like right after COVID. We just got opened up right after
Mhm.
COVID, and that's when I first met you. But I didn't realize till I watched you on YouTube. I said, "That's the dude from the library."
I be in these streets. I'm just glad
Yes,
that
he
she
do.
said that because
Yes,
I
he
really
do.
be out
He
here
really
with the
do.
folks,
You
yo.
be all over the city.
Yes,
Nah,
he do.
Thank you.
He
I really
spread the
appreciate
love
that.
everywhere.
I love when people remember me too.
Yeah.
I love it.
How can they not?
I don't, some people say
You know
it's
the
like some big head
shiny,
stuff.
the shiny forehead.
And I'm having a bad hair day. Y'all can't see it on camera, but I'm having a bad.
Yeah, I'm about to say, bro, you gotta have hair to have
I'm
a bad hair
having a
day.
bad. But when I ask people, because we ask the same 3 questions all the time. Who are you?
Mhm.
What's your resource, and why you do what you do? And the reason why we ask who are you, because for me and my sister hear me talk. Everybody that know me know that I talk a lot about identity. How I got to be where I'm at right now. I'm blessed to be at right now is learning who I was. And one of the first things I started to learn, before I got into, Africa, being a descendant of slaves, of captives rather. But I need, like, when we talk about it, we need to know like our personal history as well. Like, who
Right.
is your paternal grandmother? Who is your paternal grandfather? So that's and for black folk, a lot of times it's a up moment.
Yeah.
Like, if I asked you who Felicia Rashad was, you probably can run down some stats. If I asked you who Bill Cosby was, Little Dirk,
Right.
Eddie Murphy, I can go on and on with people that you could probably run off 1,000 things about them. But a lot of times when we ask who we are, or you ask not regular, because we all do something amazing,
Right.
just by breathing life, you're going to bring some energy, you're going to create, you're going to build, even if you don't know that's what you're doing, and that's what your purpose is. But we don't be knowing, and that's the reason why we fall for a lot of things we fall for.
Right.
We follow blindly and want to give our all to things that's not really working for us because we lack identity. We work
Right.
for other people because we lack identity. So that's one of the reasons why me and my co-host, we asked that question.
Well, you know what? I can say, look, I wear 99 hats.
That's
And
what I'm
I'm
trying to
about
get
I'm about
to.
to get to. Listen,
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Usually when I'm introducing myself, I have to cut it short. So
No,
if you
no,
want,
No,
if you
we
wanna
don't
do
want
that,
you to cut it
okay.
short.
No,
We
we
want
wanna
you to
know.
shine up in
Because
here.
somebody gonna need one of those
Yes.
resources.
Okay,
Shine
well, first
up
of all,
in here,
my
please
favorite
do.
title that I wear, I'm a mother.
Here we go.
Of a 17-year-old. That's my favorite title. I'm a chaplain. That's number 2. I do a lot of community work. I sit on the board for the Family Voices. What else? I can't even name. Oh, NAMI. I volunteer at NAMI. I run a lot of groups at different hospitals.
Now, what do NAMI do? Let us know what
NAMI
that is.
National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Okay.
So I'm very big on believing in getting us help. You know, especially after the pandemic, people never had mental illness before, they have it now. So I do a lot of the trainings for NAMI. Actually, I started with my job with DBHIDS. I was a volunteer. I'm a part of the family member committee there. What I like about my job is that it's not just about mental health. When you hear DBHIDS, everybody think mental health, but we got different departments. I sit on a senior task force for older Philadelphians. I sit on the DEI task force where we're sitting, we're trying to break this opioid addiction amongst people of color. You know, the LGBTQIA plus. I hope I said it correctly. You know, I sit on their task force, so I do a lot for a community. I help people with housings. You need help with utilities. I get all kinds of phone calls, hospitalizations, aftercare after hospitalizations. I just came back from doing a Bible study at a nurse at a not a nursing home, a senior apartment building. I do that every Tuesday.
So you make me feel like I'm doing exactly what the hell I'm supposed to be doing. Because people always talking about you doing too much. And I know a part of that is about self-care. Yes, we need to take care of ourselves. I need to get my hair taken care of because it's bad right now. My beard, I need to go get my feet done. I need some time to just chill and not do nothing. So I know that's important, but we have to wear 1,000. And I just love, because one of the many things that I've learned over the course of the year, working with and just doing community work, not just working with Eddie's House, but doing community. And shout out to Eddie's House. I appreciate the blank canvas that I've been given to be able to do the things that God gave me the ability to do. So, but I hear all the time people like, you doing too many things, and I'll be like, what we do. And we're not unusual. Like, so people can stop saying it to me like we unusual.
Right.
Because it's not. We not.
It's
people
not.
that's doing 1,000. And we trying to link up. I'm trying to build a whole team of people that do 1,000 things.
Right.
An army of them. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of them, and we just not necessarily working together. And not because we don't work together. Because I don't rock with that neither. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Right.
But I appreciate it because it allows me to know that what I have been saying about providing services is true. It has to be a holistic approach.
Yeah.
It has to be
It has
wraparound
to be.
services, as Miss Marion says a lot.
Listen, you're correct. Because I wear many hats and I'm in a little bit of everything. I see it all the time. The city is suffering. If it ain't the drug thing in Kensington, it's the kids getting killed left or right with the gun violence. The seniors, they struggling. Their grandparents raising when they supposed to be relaxing and retiring, they raise the kids again because their kids is whatever the situation may be. It's so much stuff going on, and people suffer in silence. They don't trust the systems. So what I like specifically about what I do at Philadelphia System of Care, because I'm in the community and I say, look, as soon as they hear DBHIDS, people of color back up. No, it's a bad thing. We're not coming in and just changing the community without asking the community. We come in and say, what y'all want for your community? How you going to better your community? What can we do to assist you with it?
Right.
So we're not just coming in and just doing whatever we want. So, for example, one of the areas I work, they want to do safety in their rec centers. Okay, what's your plan? How do you want to do safety in rec centers? Okay, what can we do as an agency to help you? And then the good thing about it is I live in that area. I'm a community person in that area. That's another hat I wear. And they lucky to have me because whatever they don't know, if they're not knowledgeable of, I can say, look, this is what you gotta do. This is what you gotta go on. This, you know.
Exactly.
So my goal is, like you said, I need to do self-care. People say it all the time, but people need help. I get phone calls 2 o'clock in the morning from parents. I'm in a crisis center. They won't do this, that, dirt. All right, let me speak to the person in charge. My son's at the 35th. Blah, 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 blah. You know, the different calls. I answer my phone all the time. You never know who's gonna call you for what. And you never know what kind of emergency it is.
Right.
You know, so there's resources out here. There's resources out here people don't even know about.
That's true.
That's
And
a sad thing.
that's one of, because you said a lot of things that I could have chimed in on, but I want people to, I like people to be able to hear how this is not, it's not something that's far away. You know what I'm saying? The way that you provide the resources and being in there and being like, yo, I might not even came to this meeting for that, but then somebody hears something and now I'm providing a different service.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now I'm telling them about another resource. Like, it always works like that too.
Yes.
You could go somewhere that's about reentry and wind up hearing about what's going on with seniors, and just so happen you know something from being up with Cemetery
Exactly.
and talking to, knowing that Uptown is where all our seniors at.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like blocks. You see how the stores and the supermarkets, you see all older Black Philadelphians uptown.
Yeah.
All West O'Glain, Mount Airy,
Yup.
East O'Glain. When you go to ShopRite, you get a representation of that demographic. When you go to Shelton Hill Mall, you get a representation of what demographic is in that part of the city. But from giving out food out there, and I learned that, I knew that's where a lot of our homeowners were at, but I just didn't know it was like that, like block by block by block. You can go through the whole block, and everybody seemed like they 48, 49, 50 and older.
It's funny you said about home ownership. So I went to this conference in Harrisburg. I was graduating from a program through Temple, and this lady came to speak. She's from Chicago, and she was telling us how Section 8 works. And she said, I built it up from the beginning. I'm retired, blah, 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 blah. So the stuff she was saying, I'm going back and forth with her. She said, man, I know what I'm talking about. So I said, okay, I'm going to listen. I come back to Philadelphia because I want to test the theory, but she said to me, she said, when you apply for Section 8, right? Now, everybody I know, they apply for Section 8. Even if they die renting. It's always was an option there for you to be a homeowner. Now, everybody's trying to do a first-time homebuyer program. Section 8 bringing it up like it's new. That always was an option, but it was never told to people of color. And this is what the lady said to me. So I said, okay, I'm going to test this theory out. So I called, housing authority. I went there and I spoke to somebody. I said, well, I'm going to apply an application, but I don't want to be a renter. I want to be an owner. They said, okay, well, you at the wrong office. I went to Ridge. They sent me to Walk High School on 24th Street. They got an office in there, Walk High School. The lady said, oh, yeah, that's an option that's always been there. And I'm scratching my head because everyone I know that been in Section 8, they've been renters all their life. So there was an option for you to be a homeowner. Why are you renting for 30 or 40 years until you die? That's information that we didn't know about. But we think it's new because they put it out there. And that was always an option.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
And this the funny thing about that with Philadelphia being in the housing crisis that it's in, and a lot of that being pushed by thievery. My sister be like, stop using pretty words. Stop saying not you. Is another little sister. She was on the show the last 2 weeks. Her name is Wasima, and she about to be one of our incredible messengers, and she works with the Fathership Foundation. She was like, stop using these pretty words. This is thievery. They taking stuff from people. Y'all saying gentrification, and I'm like, she right. Like, what what you can't deny that. Like, stop saying shit that make it sound sweet or make it sound like it's just policy. Like, this is how it's supposed to be. Certain words,
right.
They use it, make it sound like this is just policy. Like, you can't be mad at this is policy.
But
now we could change the policy, but this is just policy.
But rent, all this stuff is going up. Food going up, gas going up, minimum wage ain't going up. I read an article. They say you gotta make about 5 to 6 times the amount of minimum wage to be able to survive to live in Philadelphia.
Right, because in a capitalist society, inflation never really goes down. I learned something crazy while I was in prison. They changed the way that you can fill out the form, if you want to call it that, to get your commissary, right? So they gave us these citywide test looking things like the bubble and dudes messing up their money trying to fill the bubbles out. They made the tutors come down when they were about to change this system. They had the tutors come down and showed us how to fill it out, so we could teach the rest of the jail how to spend their money, basically, and do it correctly so you don't lose the money, so they can make sure that they get it and they don't have a bunch of issues. But the funny thing about it was some print at the top of it that says overall rates of prices will go up 2% every year.
Wow.
So even though they playing with certain prices, and they be like, peanut butter be like $1.79 for a while, and it might go down to $1.60. But when it go back up, you're not gonna go back down. It's always gonna, when it changes again, it's gonna be up that 2%. And they would do that with all the food, where sometimes it would go down so you think you're getting a discount, but then when it comes back, it's more than it was before. Originally. But you don't remember that because jail is a revolving door. So a cat like me who there for 20 years can see it, the inflation just going up, the price. But cats is coming in for 3 years. 5 years, they don't understand that this is a money game. And then you apply that to when you come home, because something that my elder used to say to me all the time, and I've been repeating it to a lot of people because it was so profound. You want to go home, and I know you want to go home, and everybody wants to go home. But remember, what you're going home to created where you're at. We didn't come from prison. Like, everybody wasn't born in prison and then society grew out of that. No. Societies built prisons.
Right.
So you're going back to a place that has the ability to create this place that you hate so much and you want to be away from. So be mindful that that's what you're going home to. Be prepared because you could end up somewhere similar to that. But I just told that because that was something that a lot of my brothers didn't know about that inflation.
I got even something better than that. So it starts in 3rd grade. I was at the school district meeting pre-COVID, and then I'm talking about after COVID. They have these tests that they can tell by a 3rd grade if you're gonna go to jail or not. So if that being said, they making their money because guess what? I know you going to jail, you going to jail, you going to jail, you going to jail. So let me build these prisons. Now, if you can do a test to find out who's gonna go to jail, who's gonna live a life of crime, why can't you have a test of who's gonna be educated, who's gonna be rich? How can we better the economy? Because if you think about the economy now, if you're a single mother, you struggling, you're not educated, you trying to raise your family, everything going up. You get $1 more, they take your food stamps away. You Social Security give you a raise. If you want Social Security or your kids get it, they take your food away. They always taking something away, so it's set up for you to fail. It's not set up for you to succeed. Exactly. So what can we do as a people to work together to succeed?
So
exactly.
My fault.
And
You was about to say
quick
something.
before you go, bro, that in your example right there of that test, that just solidifies the school to jail pipeline because they have to fill the prisons, right? So they going to start with our kids.
Right.
Why is such a thing even exist, right? Why is there a test that even exists? Because you know why? Because they are doing this shit years out, doing projections years out. That's how they know how many more prisons they going to have to consider building. So it's specific. It's by design that there is a test that can determine in 3rd grade if you're going to go to prison. That is, it's been going on for years, and our ability to have access to information is just really bringing it out. The school, it's a shame because they start with our kids young, pre-K.
Yes.
Pre-K is when they start. That's when they start the try the behaviors and the labeling and all of that. By the time you get to 3rd grade, you either got a IEP, 5014C or 504C. Like it's by the time you get there, all this stuff is already created that says, okay, these are the tools. This child is using these tools. The chances of this child going to prison is high, right? But what they don't do is what they do, let me add that, is they underestimate the parents of these black children. Right. I was one of those parents that they underestimated. Okay? No, I'm going to use I'm going to use these resources to help protect my child because I see what y'all trying to do. And no, when he gets to a point that he's developing, this shit ain't supposed to be forever. Right. It's supposed to be temporary.
Exactly.
Tools put in place to help children adjust. And when you have parents that are involved and understand and are knowledgeable, it's hard for them to continue to feed that child to the system.
But that's what we got to get these parents.
We got to educate them.
But they got to want it too, because I was at an event a couple months ago for my job at a charter school talking to these young folks. And the parent got mad because I said, these babies is getting killed left and right, but people of color don't get life insurance. You know John out there selling drugs. Where y'all go with all that money? I'm at an event at Cecil B. Moore, and they come and saying, oh, we need to collect money. I'm trying to bury my child. You got a $300 wig on your head. I'm wearing a $20 wig from Amazon. I got $10 shoes on my feet from Amazon. You got Jordans on your feet. You asking me for money to help bury your child? Like, that don't make sense to me. So why can't we educate each other? How can I get life insurance? My son got 3 life insurance policies on him. Do I want my child to die? No. Do that mean I love my child less? No. But God forbid if something happens to him, I ain't going to be having fish fries or begging nobody for no money to bury my child.
Right.
You know?
So the thing that I love about these type of conversations and when we share information is like it connects the dots. So a lot of those parents operate like that because, again, we go back to the school system. We're not being taught critical thought.
Exactly.
Right.
So buying Jordans at the time that you buy Jordans makes more sense than to save money for later. And then that's what life insurance is kind of considered to some people. Like, I'm saving money for later. Or you talking about death. We talk about death all the time, and this is a crazy thing to me. Nobody wants to have the death conversation around life insurance, but we talk about death all day.
All the
It's in the music. It's in the movies that we watch. We talk crazy to each other. It always gets to,
and it's not going to change.
Right.
We all going to die.
But that's the funny thing. We talk about death and not living a long life, and that's the other issue too, because we are in a mind frame where everything is short-lived. Everything is quick. Microwave, like they say. So nobody want to think long term. Nobody want to think 30-year projections. That's what we need to start doing. But again, that comes from, we have to teach these parents, teach these babies how to critically think. Because then we won't, because I'm not saying you're doing this, but one of the things the school district does is vilify the parent and try to make it all the parents' fault for everything that's happening. And until my brothers and sisters, mainly my sisters and white women who are teachers, stop using the parent. Y'all use the children as what's the thing? You give me an example. Like, I'm not coming up with the word. Like, y'all play with the child like a puppet. It's a pawn. The child is a pawn in y'all game, and then y'all blame everything on the parent.
Yep.
So I asked a teacher, do you assess what learning style your children have at the beginning of the year? Because if you don't do that, it ain't just the parents' fault. Exactly. But I do ask the parents at the same time, learn your child's teaching style so you can walk into the classroom at the beginning of the year and say, Miss So-and-so, my son is an audio learner. Exactly. So in order for him to get this, before you come to me 3 months, 4 months from now, or even a month from now, because summer just was over, he don't want to be here. And that's something I understand because he's a child. He just came from having all day, I can run around, I can stay up all night, and now he here. So you need to focus in, because that first couple of months, he don't want to be here. He want to look nice, but he don't want to be here. And if they got uniforms on, then it's like, man. And then we can go into a bunch of other things. But one of my first things is, if you saying the parent is the problem, why can't I walk in your class and you say, okay, those 4 children over there, they are visual learners. Exactly. Those 10 children over there, they're audio learners. Those 8 children right there, they're physical learners. They need hand-on. You know why they sell blocks to children when they're young, because some children, you can't just be like A, B, C. You have to put the block in their hand and let them see it, feel it, see the color. So that's where it all ties in, where it's like, you're not teaching them critical thought. So now you can do an assessment because you're making them mindless consumers, so you would know who's going to prison. You feel what I'm saying? You know who's going to prison because you're not teaching them certain things. But these parents, because we in the time that we in, but these parents came from a system that was already put together too. So the same way our children are not being taught now, that parent probably wasn't taught.
And that's another thing.
And that grandparent probably wasn't taught. And that, you know what I mean?
Because there's a lot of uneducated parents. These parents are becoming younger and younger. I was a teacher. I quit. But the thing I did notice was that, you know, sometimes a parent can't read, so how can they help their little son daughter with their homework? They can't read or do math themselves.
So the other thing I want to make sure that I put this in there to really bring it full circle is when we start talking about capitalism, because we always got to have a conversation about capitalism, and you have to have. I remember reading this in a money book, and all the things that I ever read about money and capitalism and economics and all that, it all sound good. It was all, but when I read like what the system is. And I never forget reading this part. I highlighted 1,000 times. I would show everybody this joint where it says, in order for capitalism to work, and I say this a lot because I need our people to understand, you have to have a baked-in underclass. You have to have an exploited class for our, as Americans, economic system to work. This system does not work at all unless you have a built-in underclass. You have to have an exploited class. You got to have it. There's no way to get around it. So who is that exploited class? Us.
Of course.
It has always been us. The country was truly built. America became whatever America is in its imperialistic greatness based off of free labor from us. And another thing when we talk about the school system that I need people to look up is these conferences called the Mohawk conferences. When we came out of slavery, they needed an education system to make sure that they basically had slaves again. And you see it in our school system. You see public schools, they made a lot of HBCUs. Howard Oliver is not a black person. For all those black persons who think that Oliver is a black person, that's a white man. Just to let you all know, because these were the things that were created when we came out of slavery, because it's like, okay, we freed them, but now we got to switch this thing from a physical chattel slavery to a mental enslavement. That's why I said, exactly. So what we seeing now is that we seeing capitalism play out in our school system. You feel what I'm saying? Go ahead. I seen you lift your hand. You was about to say
Oh
something.
no.
Oh, but I wanted to say that because we can't have that conversation about how they're pegging our children and doing assessments that say that they're going to end up in prison if we don't understand why the public school system is set up that way. It's set up that way to feed capitalism. You need servants and mindless consumers.
Right.
And you need a certain group of people to be that way. You need all the people to a certain extent to be that way, but you need a certain group of people that's going to be the exploited class. They're going to work until they die to no benefit, and they're going to spend all of that hard-earned money on whatever they say the thing is of the day that's going to keep goods and services. There you go. So we got somebody come up in here all late. You know what I'm saying? The only person that could be late on this show is me, brother. It's like, no. So please, we don't introduce anybody. Nobody can introduce you like you introduce yourself. So can you please let everybody know who you are? Who are you?
No.
We can't hear you. Is it on? See if it's on real quick. Is it on?
Mic is on.
Make sure that the light is the light on. It
There
should be
you go.
on now. It should be on now.
1 2.
Yes,
There you go.
We can hear you now.
There you
Yep.
go. Yep.
Mhm.
What's going on, everybody? Sorry for my tardiness. Actually dealing with another violent situation in the city of Philadelphia, which is kind of par for the course. So coming from a situation where I had to actually intervene with 2 brothers who were actually about to pretty much end themselves. So, but my friends and colleagues here know this is part of the work that I do. My name is Gabe Bryant, G-A-B-E Bryant, organizer, activist in the city, but also work in behavioral health and lead initiatives around behavioral health, particularly for men and boys of color, Black boys, Latino boys.
So,
Happy to be here.
so what's the Instagram? Ain't nobody say no Instagram, no TikTok, no Facebook, no brick and mortar. Who are like? I need Black people to really run down some ish when they tell me who they are. I'm big on
Yes.
identity. I can repeat it for the brother. I'm big on identity. A lot of times when we ask our people who we are,
No doubt.
it's a moment. So I need the
No,
30
it is.
hats that you wear. You know, I need all that. I need all that.
Give it
I might
all.
need to know who your
Might be
grandpapa
about
is, what
35
part of the
hats.
city you from, like all that. I need all that. It's all part of the identity.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, you can go to Good Brother Gabe on Instagram. Good Brother Gabe. That's GOODBOR. BRO rather, THERGABE. But also, I lead an initiative called EMOC, Engaging Males of Color, EMOC. And what we do is we're designed to promote mental health and wellness for, again, men and boys across the city. We've been doing it now for about 9 years. It's a very important work. It's passionate work for me. It's a labor of love. And it's work, unfortunately, but tragically, gets us sometimes involved in situations that are a bit violent, that are a bit, complicated, complex. But it's something that I would be doing even if I wasn't getting paid for it, right? It's work.
Make sure you get paid, though. Make sure you get paid.
1,000,000%. But it's gratifying because I came from them same neighborhoods. Whether you're talking about north, south, southwest, uptown, we already know what it is. So just being able to do the work that I'm doing is very, very important. And work with these colleagues as well is very good as well. So good to meet the family as well.
Nah,
You
definitely,
too,
and
you
it's
too.
definitely a fan. I'm glad you said. I'm glad you picked up on that energy, that vibe. You know
That's
what I'm
what it
saying? Because
is.
it's definitely a resource show, but it's a family show. We promote that all day, every day. I don't gotta know you. We Black folks, so we gonna make it happen until we
course.
can't make it happen.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you saying it's a labor of love, because I say that about what I do. Like one of the reasons why I don't never feel like I'll get burnt out even though again self-care is very, very, very important. However, you can get some peace, some relaxation, some you time, do that. And my daughter bring up a great point, but I'm gonna bring that up a little later. But I appreciate the labor of love comment, because that's how I feel. Like I can never get burnt out doing this, because I really do love doing it. I really love being a conduit, somebody that can empower somebody else, somebody that can educate, introduce new thought. That's a really, really big thing for me. Like when you meet people, somehow, some way, you got to introduce some new thought, because nothing that you're trying to do for a person from the service standpoint is going to really work if you can't get them to change their thought pattern.
Right.
And that's not easy, but that's the main, that's not the only goal, but that's one of the main goals. If you want people to really take in the love that you provide them, and you got to try to find some way to get a change of thought. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate you saying the labor of love part. Like that's the reason why you've been doing it for 9 years.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
100%.
saying? Because one thing this do, if you're a fairly smart person and you got a little track record, which 9 years is these people will pay you to get out the way. I'm just telling you.
True indeed.
And I mean it just like that.
You ain't saying nothing wrong.
They will pay you to get out the
saying
way.
nothing wrong.
They will say, okay, he stood in there this long.
Right.
Listen, won't you work at this corporation called it's an organization, but it's a corporate because we want you out the way. As long as you are a competitor, you're going to show where we not just doing this for the reasons that you doing it. We
Right.
doing it to become a nonprofit corporation.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or just somebody that want to be seen. Influencer are a big thing. A lot of nonprofit folks, that's a good lane for them to be influencers. And it's money that comes with it if that's what
Yeah.
you chasing. You know what I mean? So that's a funny thing. Like these people will pay you
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
get
they
out the
will.
way.
It's wild. It's
You know what
wild.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now that they're giving away subscriptions for blue
There you
checks,
go.
it's a whole nother, you know,
There
what
you
I'm saying,
go.
thing to
Yeah.
deal with right now.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
Everybody, you get a check. You get a check.
You get a check. It's out
Yeah.
there.
It's crazy,
It's
bro.
out there.
But that's a thing for me. I'm glad you said that too, because that's a thing for me where this is cyclical.
Yeah.
Like we always have an issue through the system, through these institutions that's introduced in our neighborhood as the thing.
Mhm.
So if it's crack, if it's heroin, it's homelessness, it could be it's always something they try to drill down on to kind of make you not think about those other things that are also going on. That's probably what's the real cause of gun violence, because gun violence, as my brother Zuberi say, and we all should know, is the end result. The time that somebody gets shot and killed, it was a bunch of things that happened before
that,
that
yes.
shot got
That's right.
fired.
Yep.
Y'all dealing with the shot, the gun, the person in that moment, the act, the murder, as if that's the thing that lives by itself in a vacuum. No, there was a bunch of things, a bunch of maladies that were going on that exist in this person's life that led him to that point. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say this. I've been out of high school, telling my real age because I turn 30 every year. But I've been out of high school about 20 years, 19, 20 years. So when I was in high school, Mayor John Street was the mayor. You know, so but one of the things he did before he left being a mayor was he put the task force together, because back then we called it Philadelphia. Then we got 20 years later and we still having the same issue, and that task force he put in is still in effect. So my thing is this. Well, what is y'all doing? What y'all meeting every month and just having coffee? And
Yeah.
I'm saying this, and I know it's still in because I had a personal conversation with somebody who's been on that task force since the beginning and still sit on that task force. So therefore, what are y'all doing? What have y'all done? Because it didn't do nothing to get worse. I keep seeing my babies getting killed, and
I
I'm
think-
tired of going to a funeral.
I think one of the things that you kind of mentioned, but it just stood out for me, is that sometimes change is necessary.
Right.
When you got the same people sitting on the same task force
20
for
years.
years and nothing is happening, that is a pure bona fide sign right there. That's a red flag right there.
Exactly.
Somebody else needs to get in on that task force. Like it's and that's I was thinking about this just listening to everything that y'all saying, the gun violence, everything, the precedents that lead up to the gun violence, and one of the things that we need to get people to understand that in order for things to be different, we have to embrace change,
Yeah.
right? Change is not always a bad thing. We need to embrace change. Change is how we move forward.
Exactly.
Change is how we learn new things. Change
Exactly.
is how we develop new ideas about our own lives.
Right.
So, and the crazy part about this is I'm here now, removed from high school. I don't want to throw my age out there, but and I went to Simon Gratz. I graduated from Simon Gratz High School.
Congrats.
And when I went to Simon Gratz High School, they started this program. We were right out of the 9th grade institute, and I was kind of mad. I was really, really mad. They took a group of kids and they started this program called Crossroads.
Okay.
And it was more like a college prep kind of program. They was trying to do something different. And all of our classes was in this one part of the building, and we never went over to the other side. It was like, you know, we probably meshed with the rest of the school for like extracurricular activities and lunch and stuff like
Right.
that. But the first year I was in the program, every year it had a focus. And the first thing they wanted us to focus on was change. Because they were introducing something new, something different, it was only right that the focus be change. Because as children coming into high school, you like, what? Y'all trying to put me over here? No, I want to be with my friends. What's
Right.
going on here? Why I get? And you didn't have an option. You
Oh.
didn't select it, right? They just put you in there. So it was like kids, you're like, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't like this. I don't want to be a part of that. And it turned out to be such a great experience for me. And the teachers, oh my gosh, the teachers in this to this day, I am friends with my English teacher, Miss Pincus, on Instagram. And she was my English teacher. She literally, we read about things that were emotionally charged and could cause some ethical uproar. And we had conversations in the classroom that you didn't think ninth grade high school students would have.
Right.
You know, talking about slavery, talking about the Holocaust, talking about different, life-changing events. But I say this I went all the way back and thought about that to say that getting people to understand that change is a part of our natural development is how we can tap into making differences
Right.
in people's individual lives, in our community, in the programs that are servicing our kids,
Yes,
and these
like
systems
yeah.
that we are all a part of in some way, shape, or form. The people who are in and been in for 20 years, it's time to go.
You ain't never lied
It's
about that
time to
one.
go. It's time for somebody else to step up and take the ranks, because we are constantly evolving.
Right.
What you may have thought 20 years ago, it's some fresh, new, younger people that is more in tune with what our youth need, that can come in on that task force and really share some good,
And just got
valuable
the energy.
information.
Right.
Exactly.
Just got the energy,
And
like
have the energy.
you gotta
Exactly.
foster that energy, because you always ask that it's the energy that's taking them in all these different. They got a lot of energy is in there, you know what I mean, and that's taking them in a lot of these
Absolutely.
directions.
Absolutely.
But the thing that the thing that I want to say, because I don't definitely want to get up. One, when you've been in there for 20 years, they probably paid you to get out the way. That's number one. They gave you a couple raises, put you in some nice situations, and you just got comfortable with the lifestyle that came with you doing this for 20 years.
And not making no difference
And,
at all.
what you did over time is you got jaded, because this is hard.
It does.
This is
You
hard.
can. You
Jaded,
can.
This is
Burnt
hard.
out, discouraged. everything else,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I want both of y'all to comment, because our second question is always, what is your resource? And y'all tapped into it a little bit. You'd say the organizations and all the letters that y'all are part of and all that. But like, give us some direct resources that y'all provide. Like, what are y'all resources?
You want to go first?
Hey, go ahead.
Oh, okay. So with the job that I have, I'm in the community. Like I said, we come in the community, asking what do they want, and we do the best to
And
try to
that's
help
true
them.
organizing too.
Yeah, so we try the best. But the thing is, we just need more people to come out. That's what the job that I have. Like I said earlier, I help people with housing, utilities. A single mother might call me, their child at the 35th. I get a phone call in the middle of the night, your child might be in the hospital or crisis at the crisis center, and they need help there. I saw on the board of Philadelphia Voices, which is the first family brand organization in Philadelphia, the third one in Pennsylvania, 33rd in the United States. So basically, we made history. It's a family-run organization ran by family members. On the board of directors, all the employees are family members. So when we say family members, we are parents, or we would say caregivers, raising children that have mental health or behavioral let me say conditions, because I don't like the word disabilities. Okay. And what we do, we offer free services. We advocate for parents through the criminal justice system, welfare, social security, DH, any kind of system that's in medical for a child. So that's another thing that I can do. Provide information for. What else? NAMI. NAMI help 18 or older mental health children, adult children. So we surprise, as a facilitator, we facilitate groups for parents that might be raising these adult children as well. And then adult children, we try to help them with services. As far as my organization, like I said earlier, they provide a lot of the services too. They help with drug, alcohol, mental health. They help with utilities. Some of the services I said too. I'm trying to think. I wear something. Yeah. Oh, I'm a committee woman.
Give me your phone number too. When
Yeah,
you get
how
done.
can
Like,
one
when you,
try
yeah,
get
give me a
these
number.
services?
Yell it
How
out
can they
on
get
camera.
All right.
connected?
Well, my phone number is 215-834-7887.
Say that again.
Again, that's 215-834-7887. Or you can reach me at my email, which is Benita, BENITA .Tillman, TILLMAN @Fuller, PHILA.gov. Again, that's B as a boy, ENITA .TILLMAN @Fuller.gov. Now, before I let Gabe speak, I do want to mention on the 28th, which is my actual birthday, we having a Faith and Spiritual Affairs conference at the Doubletree Hotel. Yeah, the 28th. It's from 8 to 4.
The 26th, 28th.
Oh, shucks, Taurus is in the house. Hey. So we have a Space for Spiritual Affairs event. Y'all come out, learn a little bit about DBH and what we do. We really big on spirituality too, because that's what people in recovery, which is mental health or drug alcohol, big on spirituality. And also on May 20th, I'm doing an event called The Color of Pain. It's going to be at Zion Baptist Church. In this event, we talking about how us people of color get treated different at hospitals, especially when it comes to pain management. So I will be giving my testimony because I had 9 surgeries. Just had one in 8 years. No, excuse me. I had 8 surgeries and I had 9 surgeries in 10 years. So as of January was my whatever. I had a lot of surgeries, but the pain, the way they treated me. So I give my testimony that I'm on the panel. But there's a lot of doctors there with MDs, and we want people to come out because that's got to stop too. They want to cut on us and just send us home without no medication. And then we come back to the hospital because we in pain or having an after effect because of what y'all did to our bodies. You know, so that's something else that I'm pushing on too. I wanted to put that out there before Gabe spoke.
Yeah, thank you for that. I do a lot of conflict resolution and peer mediation. And I started a school. So if you have a school program, out of school program, myself and my team can come out, do conflict resolution. You know, if things are starting to get heightened, you know, with the violence or what have you, there's beefs online, beefs on social media, on IG, whatever it is. We can come out and do that and reduce any type of violence happening after the fact. My team also is every week we're at the Juvenile Justice Center at 48th and Haverford with those young men down there who are detained, and we've been there now every week for like the past 6 years. And we've done a great job to reduce the recidivism of the young guys who are there. But more importantly, once the young men are discharged, we also follow a cohort of them to provide them with ongoing services, housing support, get them back into school, get them some jobs. I just got one of my young boys, you know, a job over at the Wawa. My other young boy got back into school. People might think that these things are small. They're huge
Steps,
in the lives of these men. So a lot of the things that we do is around that. We also just created a film called
documentary.
Yeah, we made a documentary film called Trigger, which is talking about, you know, the traumas of gun violence in the city of Philadelphia. We have people who are shooters in the film, people who are victims of gun violence in the film. We got researchers, we got scientists, we got nurses who was a trauma nurse over at Temple. We have young people, so we do a whole roundtable of youth, right? Of young men talking about, yo, what are the issues? What are you thinking about? You know, how can we solve this? We got people like Mark Lamont Hill, shout out to Uncle Bobby's, he's in the film. Actually, it's funny that you mentioned Gratz because last year's principal, Leandro Dunn, who's currently now at Youth Build, but he was at Gratz for many years. He's also in the film, and we are using the film now to provoke an intervention. Like, we've been screening now probably about 8 times already. In neighborhoods, we was at Robeson High School, we was at CCP, we was at a rec center. We got one coming up actually this Thursday, one coming up next week, and the goal is to not only screen the film, but have a community talk back, right? Let's screen the film, it's an hour long, which gives us another hour to build, right? Like, if you from North, wherever you from, like, what's going on right now in your neighborhood, on your block, in your home, that we could deal with it, and what's missing, and what do you need that we can provide? Because oftentimes there's a whole big disconnect on, like, yo, like, the people up top, quote unquote, are talking and doing all this work, but don't know how I'm living, right? And, you know, on the ground, Strawberry Mansion, down the bottom, wherever you live at. So that work has been really instrumental because we're seeing on the front lines people be connected to services like Benita's, right? And now they're saying, oh, wow, not only is my story important, but it aligns with somebody else in another neighborhood. So now we can make those connections. And so that's been super helpful. I'll close by saying this. A lot of the work that I do of late also has been around this opioid situation. And it's I'm telling y'all, black folk, it is one of the highest issues of overdose deaths in the city of Philadelphia that's not talked about. We talk a lot about the homicide piece, but if you ask the average cat, like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying, like opioids, but if I say perks,
They know what it is.
they know what it is.
Exactly, yeah.
They know what it is.
Fiend, homie.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I don't know if they like being told that, and that's yo. It's
You gotta keep it.
it's so crazy. If y'all go back and watch the show, we've talked about this. We talked about it on a lot of levels where it's like, you know, one, I wanna keep saying this because it's a lot that I can say by what you said. But one thing I want to say is stop fear mongering in our community. I'm not saying you're fear mongering, but I'm saying as a group of people, stop fear mongering because that fits a thing for our young men as well. They got a situation called GVI. A lot of indictments is going to come behind GVI.
Yep.
GVI is explaining like, okay, we giving you an out. That's what they telling you. We giving you an out. And I'm a credible messenger. I'm a supervisor of credible messengers powered by Eddie's House, working through the Office of Violence Prevention. So I definitely am. And my brother that's in here, June, we all gonna be on the front line, like really in our community, trying to provide research. But we're not fear mongering. We know that the Office of Violence Prevention is saying violence, and i.e., we talking about guns, but that's not something we really even talk about on our show. We don't really talk about gun violence on our show because we know not that it's not important, but that's the end result.
Yeah.
And it's something that, like I said earlier, it's something that leads to that. So the thing that's crazy about it is like, yo, we don't understand that we participate in that fear mongering and make us scared of our young men.
Yep.
And now our young women. Because there's something else I've been preaching for the longest. Our young women our women, black women, are the fastest growing prison population. Our young women are being treated like our young men or our men were 20 years ago. It's like, we got y'all out the way. Crack was like the last joint to like break the black man all the way down, but we ain't going yet. Not yet. It ain't a whole bunch of it, but we ain't going yet. But what they doing is they using that same attack on our sisters.
Yeah.
They like I'm seeing it. I'm even seeing how they're engineering our young women to even act. They're acting like 90s niggas. I'm just being honest. When you watch it, when you watch the aggression of our little and it's not their fault. That's the part you got to make certain. It's not their fault, but this is what's being done to them. But the other thing the other thing that you said that is like yo, It's a lot of things that's like triggering us, man. Like you didn't use the word trigger, but you said with the movie, it shows what the traumas are, like what's going on, and our young men are talking about it more. Like we need to be mindful. Like we understand this mental health language that we have that we didn't have before, but we need to be mindful of like playing with that. And not allowing people call people on their ish when they playing with that language. I be around people who play with that language. And I see it in a lot of people. Like it's like now that we know trigger language, now everybody that triggered me. Is that just a way for you to be able to do what the hell you want to do? You know what I'm saying? Because it feels like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. That's why y'all all like, amen. Amen. They be playing with this issue.
I'm bipolar. That's why I did that.
Right.
So
you
I'm
just
not gonna lose
moody
my
because
job.
you dehydrated and you no. What it is, you not bipolar. You just moody because you ate a bunch of BS that they served you and told you was food, and you dehydrated. So now you're irritable because you're dehydrated and you ate some bull crap that's making you tired because your immune system is mad at you and it's trying to put you asleep, but you still trying to be out here doing whatever you're doing, and now you're mad at everybody. That's really what's happening. You're not bipolar. But since we got that language, it's being played with. The other thing is like, yo, how do the screenings go? Like, how do y'all select where y'all going to screen at? Because, I got to jump in there. Like,
you gotta come. You gotta come through and be a part of it. So
you know what I'm saying? Like, could I host this screening at my center?
Of course.
All right, that's what I'm talking about.
Say
like,
less.
I'm gonna come and see. That's gonna be what it's gonna be. But can we host a screening at our center? We can. You can really put it out there. Like again, since we credible messengers, we gonna be doing a lot of events over the summer. So I hope to be able to like link up with you and be like, yo, we doing something at Christie in West Philly. Can we do it outside or something? Because Christie got a park that's not being utilized by the community, and I think that's something that. A lot of them are though. A lot of them are. But again, it's all an engineering.
Yeah.
Just be mindful. It is what it is.
It's about design.
Exactly.
We're gonna be at Hank Gather's Rec, for instance, on the 21st. You know what I'm saying? And Hank Gather's Rec, it's funny. We're in a meeting and somebody was like, "Well, it's gonna be at 6 p.m. Do you need to call people to make sure everybody's gonna be safe?" I said, "Look, listen, man. This is what
fear mongering.
Fear mongering. So I wanted to get to that point, right? It's like, listen, man, because if people don't know, North Philly, they got the whole basketball league just started. It's going through June. They in there Tuesday through Thursday, and so we're gonna do the film joint on Friday, right? Everybody come in for the week. It's gonna be love, pizza, the whole 9 yards. And I had to tell them, like, look, man, like, y'all gotta stop being scared of these black boys, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what got into y'all. I understand it, but we can't condone that behavior.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, we're not
It's
gonna let that.
perpetuating the cycle,
Yes.
and it needs to change.
We gotta change that, and it changes by being around, you know what I mean, some of these young men and talking to them and manifesting their brilliance and letting their brilliance shine in these spaces and letting them know. You know, we always say, well, they don't have the language. They do have the language. They do have language for their pain and they suffering. Now you may not want to receive it.
Right.
That's a different question.
Because it's gonna be it's gonna hold you accountable.
Exactly.
I can't just say it's them
Right.
over there, and that's for all
That's
of
the
us.
piece.
I'm not blaming no in particular black group of people, no parents, no pastors, no cops, no nobody. All of us. It's all of our fault because they only been on the planet 14 years.
Yep.
15 years, 16 years. Everything that they know is either from you not teaching them or you
right.
teaching them the wrong thing or a combination of both. It's just that's what going or for the parents who are doing quote unquote, because there's no book for parenting. It's different because your children are different. We living in different environments. We have a lot of similar things that we can needle down on, but it's a lot of different things going on. So it is parents that's doing their job, but it's the parent across the street that's saying, don't mess with them, don't play with them, they dirty, they this, these kids is that, they bad as shit, this, that, and the third, and you want your children not, you're trying to check out. You don't want to be out. You don't want to come outside and make sure the other children are okay. Until something happens to your child, then you want the whole community, and we all do it. And we all do it. So that's the thing. Like, stop putting our young boys over there and saying it's them. They're doing this because most of the time they ain't been on the planet long enough. And now we learn. We already knew we was calling it immaturity and stuff like that. We know that science has told us, thanks to the white young woman who had access in Connecticut, her parents didn't want her to spend the rest of her life for 25 to a life or 20 to life in prison. So they went and got an expert witness that further explains something that the criminal justice system already knew, that your brain doesn't develop fully until you 25.
Yeah.
So thanks to, but not really thanks to her, thanks to the other brothers in prison who weren't told this information that could have got them free, and they had to research it with their 8th grade education to become paralegals to find their freedom. And once they found out this information, it opened up the floodgates that should have already been open. Oh, and then they don't make shit retroactive. So they'll know legally that they shitted on you, got you in prison for all of these years for something that wasn't the president at the time or whatever it was. And then when things change, they don't make it retroactive. Learn these words because this is the stuff that they do to us because we don't know the wording. We don't know Bill Clinton played a major part in that.
Yep.
But that's a whole nother conversation. We can get real far into that. But the point I wanted to make, if we're talking about Bill Clinton too, is when you said about being fearful. And I talked about that on the show. Like, you can't be scared of your progeny, bro. You can't. I don't want to hear no. Now you could say I'm cautious. Make something up with me. Don't say scared. Don't say I can't deal with them. I don't want to do this because that make me feel like, damn, bro, you scared of your kids? Those ain't my kids. They is your kids.
Yeah, they are.
Exactly.
So,
They all are
but
kids.
Lawrence Fishburne in not Menace. What's the other joint?
Hood.
Boys in the Hood. He has a part when he take his son and his son man to another neighborhood where they shook.
Yeah.
And they like, you ain't scared? He told the boy, he said, listen, it's the 90s.
Yep.
We can't be, black people can't be scared of their own people no more.
Right.
We ain't gonna get nowhere. And that shit still resonates because I
Till
see it in our
today.
city. And that's why I keep saying what I'm saying about fear. And a lot of people, I know you're not doing it on purpose. But what I ask is stop being the media. Stop being Instagram.
Yes.
Stop being the music. Because the young boys are scared too. That's the part that y'all don't understand. These
They all
same
scared.
kids
They
that y'all
babies.
scared
Yeah,
of
they
is scared
babies.
too.
Yep.
They scared too. So that's a major thing for me, man. Like that fear. Don't be fearful of these kids, man. Like they children. They children. And we allow, whether directly or indirectly, if you didn't do it on purpose. At least I don't hope you did. I hope you didn't. You didn't do it on purpose, but we let our babies, we left them out here. We made reasons for us to disconnect. And now we scared of our progeny.
Right.
You
And
feel
I
what I'm
think-
saying?
And to kind of, bring that all full circle a little bit. It is a little hot, and we winding our time down. But I just want to add that, because of our ancestry and because of our DNA, because it's in our DNA, right? We trauma is in us. And what
It's called generational trauma. It's slavery.
It's generational trauma. And what it does is it kind of forces us, and we learn this, it's learned. It kind of forces us to compartmentalize.
No question.
Right? And we've just become so great at compartmentalizing that we're dealing with certain things and not the whole damn picture. It's not good, right? You can sit and you can try to be in the moment and be in the present for one thing, and you ignoring something over here. And we on the back end, we're saying the best approach to recovery is a holistic approach.
Right.
You can't be doing a holistic approach if you compartmentalizing. No, I'ma just deal with what's right here in front of me right now. No, you got to deal with the whole person. The whole issue, not just part of it. And this is one of the things that keep us separate. We separate ourselves. We align ourselves with people who we think have the same issues, and we only come together based on those issues.
Exactly.
We need to open ourselves up, be open to change, and exploring other areas of connection, because we are people, we are connected in so many ways that has nothing to do with trauma. You talking spiritually, you know what I mean? Culturally, it's some things that we can get into and connect with each other that don't have nothing to do with trauma. And we need to try to connect in those ways and stop making trauma the issue. Yes, we all have it, it's a problem, but there's ways we can connect, reach our children, and not separate ourselves from fear.
But we gotta, when you said the important thing was separate, we gotta do this together.
Exactly.
And let me tell you something. Before the last gay pride event they had Philly before COVID, I was there volunteering at the HIV event. Okay, on my break, I'm walking around, I'm looking at all the organizations that's there, I'm supporting them, trying to be nice or whatever. I bought a shirt, I'm wearing a shirt. Out of all the organizations that's there, guess what? I only seen one church. It was a pastor and his wife. Out of all the organizations there, it was one church. Blew my mind, because I'm standing there watching them, they praying for people. And nobody's perfect, but we're not going to be able to fix nothing if we don't work together. And the point that I'm trying to make is that they came into an environment where church folks usually push these people away and was helping them. So it doesn't matter if I'm Christian and you're a man and you're Muslim and you half black and half white. At the end of the day, we gotta come together. No matter what our difference is, to be able to help our
We
babies.
all human.
Yeah.
We all, but the thing is that you said separation. That's the thing. I was telling my girlfriend, she is Muslim. She know I'm a Baptist chaplain. She always would say, "Well, some Muslims, they ain't gonna come in the church." Okay, well, we can have a meeting outside the church. Let's have this meeting outside on the same block of the church. Matter of fact, I'll come and get my AJ.
Exactly.
Can I come in here?
Can I come?
Matter of fact, let's have it at 100 apart. Let's get a grill. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We gotta work together. It doesn't matter about religion, what you look like, you woman, you man, you child. These kids is looking up to us.
Yeah.
And the other
They
piece
paying
is,
attention.
you know, how many times have I got the call, yo, Mr. Gabe, I can't come to the group. I haven't eaten today. Right? So again, we expect all these things to happen in accordance. They didn't go to the group. How come he didn't go to his therapist? How come he, bro, did you find out that actually he got kicked out of his house and he's trying to figure out where he's gonna live tonight and tomorrow and next week?
Basic
Like
needs.
all
not even
these
being
things
met.
not being met. And so now it's been compounded, all these traumas, right? And all these realities. And so if we don't address all these other pieces and make those connections, they're gonna keep.
You gotta make
listen.
the connections.
So why do y'all do what y'all do? Like, can each one of y'all tell me why y'all do what y'all do?
I'm tired. To be honest with you, I started off with, like y'all said, the labels of my son. I got educated CCTC, Civil Neighborhood Children Crisis Treatment Center. But as I got more and more dive into mental health, and I'm actually on the inside now, I get to go in the hospital to see what's going on. I can walk in there and help them patients on the inside. Because to be honest with you, these hospitals are short staffed and they not getting, the insurance is paying for everything. They paying for your stay, they paying for your food, they paying for everything, even your aftercare. They walking out these hospitals with no aftercare plan, no place to live. And I'm paying my cards out. I got the social worker calling me like, stop doing my job. If you were doing your job, I would have to pay out my cards. i.e. people calling me. I do what I do because I see people hurt. I see people struggle. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for nobody in my family. I have a heart. People say I wear my heart on my sleeve. I don't give a goddamn, excuse my language, because people shouldn't be treated like that. I don't care if they mentally ill, they clinically insane. I don't care if they regular, whatever. We all human beings when it comes down to it. And you're supposed to treat people the way you want to be treated. I don't like when people treat the underdog bad. So I root for the underdog, the person that get kicked down. Because guess what? I'm the person that's going to help you. I'm going to give you my hand and pull you up. And then you're going to, guess what? I'm going to show you what I do. And since I helped you, your job is to help the next person the same way. Forward. And guess what? You keep paying it forward. But I do this is because I'm seeing people hurt. People keep getting screwed over. And it's like the world go round and round and it keeps happening. And nobody's not doing nothing about it. So guess what? I'm going to step in and do what I can to help. That's why I do what I do.
That's valuable.
Yeah, when I was younger, I saw my aunt, who had some serious addiction issues, wound up trying to. She actually attempted suicide. She actually lived to tell the tale, just from the top of a building, a 6-story building. But more importantly, not more importantly, but also, with that, I started working actually in education. I started in education, and I started working like 25 high schools. I was in the program from Northeast to Overbrook and everywhere in between. And what I found is that a lot of the young people I worked with weren't either finishing high school or college due to either undiagnosed or misdiagnosed mental health issue. I mean, I literally had a young man who was, a star football player, did his thing, A's and B's, the whole 9 yard, went away to Bloomsburg. First semester, I get a call back. Hey, Mr. Bryan, I'm getting calls. I wasn't even involved in the mental health yet. Hey, Mr. Bryan, I'm getting calls, so-and-so, he's starting to hear voices. You know what I mean? And so the same young star who was doing all these things, did all the things here in Philadelphia, all of a sudden gets diagnosed with schizophrenia at the age of 19. And so what I realized then, and that's about, at this point, almost 11 years now, I realized that, wow, this thing is real. And at the time also, y'all might remember this, there's this whole thing about autism kind of blowing up, right? Autism in the black community, right? Like, why is it growing, particularly among our young men? And so I began to do my research, study and tap into the field. And what I realized also was, just as a black man who's 6'5", the reality is that I know that I have certain privileges in the neighborhood, but other privileges I don't have. Because I've grown up as the taller man who stuff people avoid because they don't want no smoke. But on the other end of it, I remember as a child being 15 and everybody thinking I was older. And so everybody, want to do this, that, and the third to me. So now when I see all the young bulls at Lamperton, I see the young bulls at Mansion. I see the guys who are like 6'5", 6'6", 6'4", baby-faced, but out here trying to survive with older guys trying to put them in a whole nother direction, right? Because they think that they're older. And so I just want to be there in that space and fill up a space that I know is totally needed.
No, definitely. So I want to make sure that you made a point about being an advocate at the hospital, and me and my sister, we talked about this before. It's like, we definitely want to try to create, a sisterhood or just black women, not black women. I'm not going to say women of color. I'm going to say black women.
Because they pass over us a lot of time, and we some smart, strong.
That's right.
It goes right into what you're saying about the pain management, because y'all don't have advocates.
Yeah.
And if you don't got a sister or a friend, like, it should be able, maybe even like be a hotline. Can I call a sister? Like, listen, I got an appointment and I don't want to go to the hospital by myself. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a really, really, really big thing when it comes to our women, because it's statistics out there that shows you that college educated, insured women, black women, get worse care than poor, uneducated white women, non-college educated white women who don't have paid health care.
I got 3 insurances, and they ain't want to give me pain medicine.
Yeah.
Because they believe.
And I'm educated.
That's a big one.
I'm Dr. Tillman.
That's a big one.
I'm Dr. Tillman. They want to give Dr. Tillman no pain medicine.
See, I'm going to have to call her that now. When people get their masters and they become doctors, like my brother, Dr. Wilson, you gotta respect what it is, man. Like, what people did to matriculate to that point.
Yeah.
And especially black folk in this system. Even black folk that I look at as Buckeyes. I'm dead serious. No. The Supreme Court lady had to, what she had to do to become a Supreme Court as a black woman, even as a black woman who lacks identity of what being black is? Because nobody cares that you lack the identity. The people that you're that the reason why you lack identity, those people don't care that you want to be more like them. So they're still going to treat you the same way, even though you're trying to show them in every moment, I did everything y'all asked me to do.
Yes.
And they still going to be like, but you are a nigga.
Yep,
But you
exactly.
is an amazing nigga that's not going to use your amazingness for other black people.
With a
You're
name
gonna-
like Katanji.
I'm just being
That's our
real.
first name.
I'm just being real. You know the type of genius that it takes to understand the law at that level
Yes.
and have to deal with racism and being a woman
Oh, absolutely.
and get to that point. So
Racism,
it's a genius that's there. But the thing about the advocate is major, and you telling that, explaining your story, and so many black women, African women, go through that and don't, and some think that they think that it's okay because they don't know.
Yeah.
Until somebody like you allow them to know that you weren't treated right.
Exactly.
And I'm not, playing the race card. Well, that's some bullshit
would I
that white
keep
people
com-
made
but
up
this is
anyway.
the
There's no
thing.
such thing.
Why would I keep
It
coming
is
to
what
you
it is.
for services, right? And you getting paid for my insurance, and you don't treat me right? Why I'm gonna keep putting money in your pocket?
Exactly.
But a lot of people don't think about that like that.
And
He's
they
a
don't,
doctor. He
and
went
they
to
really
school.
don't know.
He just did. So I'm gonna keep on going. No, you got an option. Pick up the phone. Whatever. You got Keystone. I want a new doctor. This doctor ain't treat me right. This is what he said to me. Oh my God, he gave me surgery and didn't give me no pain medicine. I went home and I got sick. Went to the ER and then they brought him back to my room. I don't want him. He just provides. So it's just things
It's
people
crazy
don't know.
how it's crazy how all of this stuff be connected too.
Yeah.
Because when we start talking about the pain medicine thing, then we can start talking about opioids.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Right
And
back
the level that's
Full
on when it
circle,
comes
full
to hospitals.
Yeah.
The pharmacy using the hospital as their drug dealers. The doctor that you trust with that white coat because he got that white coat and you've been indoctrinated to think that a white man in a white coat has to be a doctor or some type of sign. You believe it. I know you don't want to believe that you
Right.
believe it, but you do. You know why? Because Jesus is white and because of Santa Claus and all that good shit. I can get into it a why. No, seriously. You know that's why. You know that's why.
Doctor
Come
in a
on,
white
man.
coat.
No, I'm serious because we have been. This was my
It's
issue.
all indoctrination.
Shout out to the Fathership Foundation, man to man. You know, definitely we gonna get together. I
we gonna
need you
for
to
sure.
slide through there,
Not even a
man.
question, yeah.
And every other Monday, we'll be back in there on the 17th. It's from 5 to 7:30. We just try and pull our brothers up, man, and we want the sisters to come too. But it's supposed to be eldership. It says mentorship, but you know the Greeks was kind of.
We understand that. We understand
You
that.
know
We
what I'm saying?
understand
So
that.
we
We
say
understand
eldership. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So-
One thing I did want to say, just to your point, is that another big part of being an advocate also is I go to, unfortunately, a lot of these community vigils when somebody's been shot. You know what I'm saying? Too many to count. But I say this all the time. Everyone always looks the same. You can pull up to the block. The street is blocked off. You got the balloons in front of the house. You got the chairs in the middle of the street. You got the news vans, 3, 6, 10, 29, or what have you. You got the people, making the statement. People with the balloons. But always on the outskirts of every vigil is a bunch of black men or black boys. They're either on a bike, they're standing around, they're looking angry. Some look like they want to retaliate. Some look sad. They're not dealing with their grief and loss well at all, right? I always go to them first and give them my cards. Look, man, I see you. You know what I mean? Sorry about what happened. I don't know the brother, but if you ever need anything, I'll put everybody to call me. But I'm telling you, every single time, I've already been to 5 this year already, and it's only March, right? April. Each time, I'd say about a month or 2 later, I'll get a random call, random email out the blue, 9 p.m. at night. You know what I mean? 1 in the morning.
What did I say?
You know what I mean? It's like, yo, is this Mr. Bryant? Yeah. Yo, you came to the vigil, like you was down the way, like back in April. It's October, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, like I just want to say, man, I'm not, yo, like I'm, you know what I mean? I might need a little help, bro. Like what
They
can you
wanna
do, big
come
bro?
in.
I'm not okay.
They
And
want to
it's
come
like, you know what I'm saying? It could be like months down the line though.
They
So that's
wanna
why I
come
keep
in.
doing it for that reason. Because I know as black men and boys how we're
They
conditioned
want
not
the
to ask for
change.
help.
Yep.
And so
They
I
want the
understand that
change.
it takes time, it takes patience, it takes humility to get to that point.
And you meet
Yes.
them. The most important thing when you working with anybody is meeting them where they are.
Oh,
When
100%.
let me tell you something. When I go in there, I don't say, "Oh, I'm Dr. Benita." No, how y'all
Nah.
doing? I'm Benita. How y'all
Yeah,
doing today?
Exactly.
I'm down to earth. I'm talk to them like they talk. Because if I go in there talking above their head, they're gonna look
Nah.
at me like I ain't got no
Nah,
sense.
exactly.
You got to always know who you're talking to, know who your audience is when you facilitate and when you're talking to somebody. If I'm talking to a 10-year-old, I'm gonna talk to a 10-year-old. I'm talking to my 17-year-old, I'm gonna talk to him where he understands. When I'm talking to my mother, I know better because I don't want to smack me. But the point is, you gotta know who your
Corporal
audience
punishment.
is.
I believe in it too, man. Whoop they ass. Like,
No, that was her back in the day. She don't do that no more. She became a grandma and
whoop
started
they lines
changing.
like that.
She became a grandma and started changing.
Yeah, you know how I get you a little old. You ain't as quick them reflexes. I know. It's like Father Time, as they say, is undefeated. You just ain't flex. You still in your head. You still like 10 years ago. I would have smacked this shit. I'm gonna let you go.
But you know
so what
what?
do you need, baby? You need X,
Yeah.
Y, Z. Because I
Listen,
gotta do it like
Listen,
this.
she give me that look. I know. Listen, I'm 30 years old. I go the other way. I still know better.
But
Man,
listen,
this
man.
is PSA.
Yo, yes, I
That was
don't
good.
want to, cause I could keep giving a new
We could
thing
go-
from what's
listen,
going on,
this
and
is an
two
amazing
always
peanut
two
to
man.
the
We gotta get you on the show, man.
What is
After he be high, like he know that I want him on the show, and he be like, yeah, I do it, and then it's like, well, you got guess though. He don't say this, but this you
I
got
gotta
somebody.
work
Don't
y'all
worry
back
about.
here. I
But-
gotta make sure y'all good.
Yo, man, I truly appreciate y'all. This was a
Anytime.
great
Wonderful.
conversation.
No,
man.
I
Y'all
appreciate
was
you too and
dope.
what you
Yes.
doing in the
Stop
community.
doing
Nah,
Excellent
thank you,
work,
man.
excellent
Thank you.
work,
We
y'all.
around.
Excellent
Like me and my sister use this show as a way to connect all those people that do 1,000 things.
Love it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Whether it be personal, where we need things, we need employment, we can open up employment for people, we could do collaborations, we could just become colleagues and friends
Yeah, that's it.
that move
Yes.
around like, damn, but
The
I just met
benefit
this
our
boy
people,
now,
yes,
man, we just
exactly.
rocking. This my
Yes.
man. We in
Exactly,
social
exactly.
spaces
That's how it
together,
go. That's
but
how it
we
go.
still do, because I'm always on. I can talk about this anywhere. We could be in the bar. I'm like,
Yeah,
black
he
people
always
need to
on.
do
It
X,
don't
Y,
matter.
Z.
It don't
What the hell
matter.
are
It
y'all
don't
doing?
matter.
And look at this.
You and me
right
on the
here.
same type of
It don't
time.
matter.
We on the same
No
type of
matter
time.
where-
Yeah, but
where
listen,
he at.
yo, again, please tell them where y'all could be filmed at. Give them y'all names. I know you got 13,000 letters. I'm gonna have to do what other people have done to you, but I didn't do it to you at the beginning, and you're gonna have to shorten it a little bit because you got a lot of shit going on. So the brother can get in and we can get on. I was like, no, go ahead. Just,
All right.
just let them know where they
I'm
can
just
find
gonna
y'all and all
say
that.
DBHIDS 801 Market Street, 7th floor is my office. That's where you can find us.
Downtown, yeah.
Yeah, 801 Market. We got office at 1101 too.
Mm,
Go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah, hit me up at emocphilly.org. That's emocphilly.org. Also, use 988. 988 is the new lifeline, natural lifeline. If you have any issues around mental health, call 988. In the same way that everybody knows 911, now learn 988. Opportunity to get immediate mental health support. 988.
Train people.
This is PSA Philly Service Announcement Takeover
Love.
Tuesday Takeover. Love, support, and great social
Always
activism
real.
resource. My right hand sister was in the building.
Real.
The Queen Nick Raw Cannon,
Yes.
Omni Assist. Come outside, y'all. Black people come outside.
Come on outside.
Beautiful.
That's what we doing out
Come
here.
out
I
your
love y'all,
box.
man.